Here's Madrid. We then go to Toledo, back to Madrid, a day trip to El Escorial and the Valley of the Fallen, back to Madrid again, train to Segovia, then on to Ávila, and back to Madrid.
The vast new Terminal 4 at Aeropuerto de Barajas has just opened. The symbol of Madrid is the bear and the strawberry tree in the Puerto del Sol. Philip II moved the capital of Spain to Madrid from Toledo in 1560, and the Plaza Mayor was completed in 1619. Somewhere underneath all of this is Madrid's river, the Rio Manzanares. In 2003, a vast project began to put all the motorways underground and reclaim the area as green space. In the Plaza de Oriente, in front of the Palacio Real, is Philip IV, who fathered Carlos, the last of the Habsburg dynasty. These statues commemorate ancient rulers of Spain from the time of the Visigoths and the Romans.
¿Quién no se le cambió los zapatos? La chaqueta. Esa chaqueta maravillosa.
4 years later, in May 2010, we would stay in a B&B here.
¿Quién no se le cambió los zapatos?
In 2004, terrorists bombed commuter trains entering Atocha station, killing almost 200 people and maiming 10 times that number. Prime Minister Aznar blamed it on ETA. Days later, when the truth was revealed, he lost the general election. The entire city of Toledo is a national monument, ruled by the Moors between 712 and 1085, but tolerating other faiths. Its mosques and synagogues created a center of learning, culture, and politics. But it was eclipsed after Philip II made Madrid his capital in 1560. There's a unique architectural feature in the cathedral ceiling, a hole. A skylight high above the ambulatory directs a shaft of sunlight through another hole cut into the Baroque altarpiece where it strikes the tabernacle. They call it El Transparente. El Greco spent his life in this city, and his paintings hang in the cathedral. We didn't manage a selfie with one, so here's one we've reconstructed. His view of Toledo. Originally a 3rd century Roman palace, the Alcazar was restored and fortified in the 16th century by Philip II. During the Spanish Civil War, it was besieged by the Republicans. The Nationalists held out until Franco came to the rescue, and so the bullet holes have been preserved as a symbol by the far right. The monastery of San Juan de los Reyes was founded by King Ferdinand II and Queen Isabella, who led the Reconquista in 1492. The Moors were forced to release Christian prisoners, and the Queen ordered this facade to be festooned with their manacles and shackles. We came in search of the traditional anise spirit, for which Cinchón is renowned. But over a sunny lunch, a jug of Tinto de Verano seemed more appropriate. Bueno. The Escorial Palace was erected by Philip II in the 16th century. It houses a monastery, a mausoleum, a basilica, a magnificent Renaissance library, 15 cloisters, and 4,000 rooms. The gallery in the Sala de las Batallas depicts epic imperial conflicts, such as the Battle of Escorial between Christians and Moors on the plains of Granada in 1432. The Biblioteca library includes Saint Teresa of Avila's personal diary. Christ crowned with thorns, attributed to the studio of Hieronymus Bosch. The Temptations of Saint Anthony. In the basilica, the reliquaries are said to contain the entire bodies of 10 saints, plus over 100 separate heads and 300 limbs. The royal pantheon holds marble sepulchres for monarchs of Spain. Carlos II, the last of the kings with the underslung jaws, played here as a child, amongst the tombs of his Habsburg forebears. A few kilometers north of El Escorial is the equally megalomaniac underground basilica constructed by Franco. The Valle de los Caídos, Valley of the Fallen, was proclaimed a memorial to the Civil War dead of both sides. However, it was built by the slave labor of Republican prisoners and is a shrine for the glorification of the Generalissimo and his regime. Franco was buried here. Perched on a rocky ridge, Segovia was a royal resort and seat of the Cortes, Parliament. The fantastic Alcázar is said to have been the model for the Disneyland castle. Though it dates from the 14th century, it's a bit of a sham, because after a fire in the 19th century, it was almost completely rebuilt. Juan Bravo lived up to his name. He was the 16th century leader of the Castilian revolt of the Comuneros, a doomed peasant rebellion against the landed nobility. He was beheaded. El Torreón de Lozoya was the fortified home of one of the noble families he rebelled against. Segovia's aqueduct fed water from the river into the city. It was built around the end of the 1st century AD, still standing without mortar or cement. The 12-sided Iglesia de la Vera Cruz, the True Cross, was built by the Knights Templar in the 13th century. It's modeled on the Church of the Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem. In the interior chamber, again 12-sided, knights stood guard over a sliver of wood believed to be part of the True Cross.
Ya, pero el domingo, anda, tiene que ser solista.
The walls of Ávila date from the 11th century. The Convento de Santa Teresa is built on the spot where the mystic was born. In the distance, the Sierra de Gredos guard the high plateau of central Spain.